Recording from the Highlands of Zone 4, it's There Can Be Only One.
Here we are, born to be kings. We're the princes of the
And welcome back to There Can Be Only One, the podcast that is all about Highlander. I'm Brant.
And I'm Chris.
And this is episode number 1. If you missed episode number 0, go back and listen to that. You'll find out what this podcast is all about, our history with Highlander, the whole franchise, and everything. It was a blast, and you should do yourself a service and go listen to it.
Yes, especially because that counts as part of this episode, which is why this episode is going to be a bit shorter than what we normally will be doing on There Can Be Only One.
Yeah, that episode aired a week ago. Typically, these are going to be monthly shows because the whole reason we brought this into being is because IDW decided to, they landed the franchise and decided to put out a Highlander miniseries. So we thought, hey, this is the perfect opportunity to talk about this franchise that we both love, and we can center it around the comic, but we can also talk about all this other stuff. But as for this particular episode, the comic just came out this week. Yep. Highlander, The American Dream, #1, and we're going to talk about it.
Yes, but first, before we talk about it, let's go back to episode 0 a moment and make some little minor corrections to things that we said. #1, and I'll take this one because this one I think mostly fell on me, was the movies. We said there were 4. There are actually 5. The thing that threw me off was I saw Highlander Final Dimension, Highlander Endgame, and unfortunately recently I had the utmost pleasure of watching Highlander The Source. What I didn't realize was there was a movie in between, and Brant knew this, but it kind of slipped both of our minds. There was Highlander 2, I think they called it The Quickening? The Quickening. Yes. And Highlander Final Dimension was also called Highlander the Sorcerer. I don't know why they renamed everything, but besides the point, I never saw Highlander 2 then, apparently.
Yeah, which was renamed Renegade now.
The Renegade Edition.
The Renegade Edition,
Edition, yeah.
So it's very confusing because, like you said, the 4-film collection does not include the second movie, and we're theorizing it's because it messed with continuity a lot, and people weren't too fond of what it did. But it was technically the second movie. So there are 5 actual live-action movies, and then the animated movie as well. So
right, and I saw the anime movie, and I'm actually I'll talk about that later. And then there's the animation, the short-lived 2-season. Animated whatever, and believe me, it's not worth. I don't think we'll really touch on that too much. I mean, maybe if we have nothing better to do with our lives, we'll go watch that cartoon. I saw clips of it, and I'm like, I don't think so.
We do have a lot to talk about before we get to there, so we'll see.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll have a new movie to talk about too, but that is still in the works. I just wanted to correct that, and then Brant you want to do the other one?
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing, our good friend Jay actually corrected us on this. We were getting terms mixed up because, like we said, it's been a long time since we watched this stuff. We were getting the Quickening confused with the Gathering at some points. The Quickening is what happens when they kill an immortal, when they take on their power. Yeah, the lightning, and the Gathering is when they all come together right before the final battle, which they're fighting for the prize. So it's all these different terms, and we mistakenly called the Gathering the Quickening, or we called the prize the Quickening. I think we called it all the Quickening.
Everything's quickening. Quickening me, quickening you. Everybody gets struck with lightning. We all die at the end.
Yet we forgot the movie called The Quickening. Go figure. But that's all right. That's all good because we got our details straight now.
Yeah, thanks to Skynet. Enter robot noise here.
Yeah. We just dipped into another franchise altogether. But bringing it back to Highlander. So, do we want to talk about the comic now?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, we do.
I am immortal. I have inside me blood of kings.
This came out this past Wednesday from IDW, and just real quick, it's written by Brian Ruckley, who is actually a Scottish novelist. Which I looked this up and I was like, well, that's really cool considering that, Highlander is a Scottish character. So that's pretty neat. And the artist is Andrea Muti, who does Rebels. So very fitting art and writing for this book.
And what do you think of all the covers? There are 4 covers, at least. You know what I should have bought? There's a There Can Be Only One cover.
Yeah, there is.
Oh.
It would have been perfect.
Well, actually, no, it doesn't say there can be only one. It just says the immortal who became the immortal.
No, there is one that says
that became the immortal.
There is one that says there can be only one at the top.
That's the standard cover.
Yeah, it's like a movie poster. Because it's got like the credits on the bottom, kind of italicized and everything. Looks pretty cool. I like that one.
That one is the one I should have got. I got the subscription variant by Claudia Garuni. That's the one that has the character that she actually painted a very, very good likeness of Chris Lambert as Connor.
Nice. Very
Which
cool.
one did you get? Or you got the digital copy?
The standard that says there can be only one.
I hate you. I hate you. I go for the movie look. I'm sorry. I like seeing Christopher Lambert.
Well, this is like a movie poster. This one, so that's
it makes sense. I completely understand.
Yeah, absolutely. So, getting into this book, which if you don't know, this is kind of a prequel to the first movie.
I thought it was it is a prequel to the first movie. Yes, it takes place right before it. Yeah,
right before it. It's set in 1985. The movie actually came out in 1986. So, there you go. And it's... Well, do you want to start?
No, you go ahead. I mean, if you want me to interject, it's fine. It takes place in 1985, and this immortal comes looking for Connor. And actually, the girlfriend, I forgot what her name was.
Rachel.
She knew who this guy was, and she was worried that he was coming after Connor for, the gathering, because she thought this was the, there can be only one, yada, ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
So,
let me interject real quick. Rachel being the girl that he saved when she was a child. Do you remember this?
Yes, it was in the first movie.
Yeah, exactly. So this is her, and the immortal that comes to find him is I'm going to butcher the pronunciation of this, but it's Basilic. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, I would say that. That's how I was going to say it too.
Okay.
And we think at first that they're going to fight. Like, this guy is like going to be the antagonist.
Mm-hmm.
And he still could be. I mean, there was no definitive thing, but they meet on the bridge, and they're happy. We see the Watchers. This is the first time that the Watchers are confirmed during the Connor movie,
right?
Which is really cool. But at least we see that they were friendly, and then we get the rest of the book as a flashback. So the first half of the book, honestly, not even the first half. I think it's only like the first, one.
It's like the first third of it.
Yeah, not even, And then the second they start talking about old times, and this guy's like, I should have killed you the moment I met you, it goes right back to Pennsylvania, 1863.
Yeah, Gettysburg.
Right after Gettysburg, yep.
Yeah, right after Gettysburg, and it's their first meeting on holy ground, and then they encounter another immortal, which is going to, ignore all the rules of the holy ground battles and everything, which is interesting. That somebody was going to do that early on, but he didn't like his odds. So
I like how this priest, though, his name I can't pronounce. I'm going to call him the priest right now. He knows about every single immortal.
Yeah,
and he knows all about their history.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's been around at this point. This is when they first met. He'd already been around for 1,000 years, right?
Mm-hmm. He's one of the eldest immortals, and he talks about Hook. He talks about Connor. Hook is the guy that went after Connor and tried to kill him. Yeah. And then he talks about Connor's mentor, and then it turns out Hook comes back and he wants to kill both of them. So it kind of I love how it ended with a line from Who Wants to Live Forever. Because Connor's like, because the guy's like, you brought this here, now you stand with me against it. And he's like, I will. Who really wants to live forever after all? I'm like, seriously? Are we going to be doing this?
It was a nice touch. I liked it.
No, I liked it. That's why I said, seriously, is this where we're going?
Yeah, and they mentioned the Kurgan, which was the antagonist for the first movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I like how the priest said he was, because they did lock him away technically, didn't they? He got free.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So. No, I thought. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I thought this was an awesome, very, very well done prequel. It served the original franchise very well. It didn't convolute things, and I thought it was smart for their first offering to do like this little mini prequel thing.
Oh, yes.
Because it leads right into that very first movie, and you're already, if you've watched the movie, you're already familiar with them. If you haven't, you get enough information in this miniseries to understand what's going on, that these are immortals and that they have come together for some kind of final battle thing that's kind of alluded to at the beginning. Mm-hmm. So
I think this is a perfect setup, and I hate to interrupt you, and it'll be the last time that I'm shutting up. I think this would be perfect. Connor to have miniseries, and like I've told everybody, IDW, if something sells well enough, it goes into full, ongoing. And I would love to see Connor as the miniseries that keep going on from time to time, and Duncan as the full-blown ongoing series. You know, you have Connor deal with the mini, Duncan in the full, and then sometimes do little crossovers,
Yeah.
Don't go to Endgame or The Source. Ignore those movies. Pretend they never happened. Just go about, both of their lives before that.
Yeah. I completely agree with you. I would love to see some Duncan stuff. Even if they just do a series of miniseries, I would be fine with that. Mm-hmm. Just if they progress through the ages, maybe, like you said, just skip right over that second movie and get into the other stuff. They probably will. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because that second movie, from what I looked it up to refresh my memory because it's been so long, and there was some convoluted stuff going on. There was like a flash forward to the future, and then, trying to it was dealing with the ozone layer being destroyed and all this weird stuff.
I never saw the movie. I thought I saw all the Highlander movies. I didn't see the last one up until recently, which I am now regretting every single moment of my life that I did that. But now there's another movie. I don't remember any ozone layer thing, so I must not have ever seen this movie. Mm. I took Final Dimension as number 2.
That's funny. Yeah, no, I knew Final Dimension was the third one. I don't know, somehow it slipped by us last episode, but that's all right. We got it corrected now. Yep. But speaking on the art, I thought it was a really good fit here. I wasn't sure I was going to like it because it's it's an acquired taste kind of style, and on Rebels it works because it's the Civil War battle and everything. But because of the flashbacks and everything, it really served this particular story well too.
Oh, I don't know. I thought that the current stuff was really good also.
Oh, I know, I did too. Stuff. Yeah, no, I wasn't disparaging the current day stuff either. Oh, okay. It's a very it's the color palettes and everything. It feels like a period piece. You know what I'm saying? It feels like it's set in that time period.
Yeah, now I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I think it works really well for this kind of story. There wasn't a whole lot of action in this particular issue, but what action we did see was handled really well. It was dynamic. It was fun and exciting. But this artist is able to bring out a lot of emotion in those still scenes. We saw a lot of still scenes, and we saw, you could see on Vasilik, the priest, you could see that weathered age look on him, even though you maintain your age throughout your immortality, but you could see like the years have weight on him. And that's a hard thing to convey in art, I think, especially in comic art. I think you did a really good job with that. Absolutely.
I think I'll speak for both of us here. I think we were both worried about the comic because it's like, we came up with the idea of the show, number one, and it's like we have this whole show based around whether this is going to be just a miniseries and then we never hear about Highlander in comics again or not,
Mm-hmm.
the whole reason for this show, spawned out of this comic. And could you imagine if this was a bad comic?
Oh.
So that would have been horrible. So we were very nervous reading this
Mm-hmm.
first issue. But I can say this book gets a solid 4.5 out of 5 stars from me. I really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to the rest of the miniseries. And I read this book with Christopher Lambert's voice in my mind.
Oh,
Connor.
I totally did too. It's funny. Chris and I were actually talking on the phone last night, and I asked him. I said, "Did you hear Connor's voice when you were reading?" And he's like, "Yeah, totally." We were on the same wavelength with that. You could totally get it. I feel like this writer knew the source material really well, and he was able to capture that voice so much so that when he spoke, you could hear his voice. And it wasn't just because, I'm reading a Highlander book, that's what I'm going to put in my ears. I think he really got his character down pat.
Even the
really
artist. The artist had him down good with the 5 o'clock shadow, the messy hair, because Connor always had messy hair. And the trench coat and the like, not warm, the wrinkled clothes. Let's put it that way. The wrinkled clothes. Yeah, they got him perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a winner in my book. I agree with your 4.5 star rating. It was that good. I was very pleasantly surprised, and like you said, I was very skeptical when I started to turn the page, and then I was like, okay, this art looks pretty good, and the pacing seems really nice, and they do the flashbacks just like Highlander typically does, and everything's falling into place, and the voices sound right, and they did this right. And
IDW, I'm warning you now. If you make this an ongoing series, you they keep this team, because they obviously know they're Highlander.
Yeah, absolutely. And how wise is it to get a Scottish writer to write a Scottish character? That was brilliant. And
the only thing that upsets me is I want to now, because you say that, you did the research. I'm sorry, I'm the worst at doing this type of thing. Brant does the research, and then I work off of what he finds out. So I'm sorry, but the fact that you're telling me that this writer is a Scottish writer makes me kind of upset, because we're not getting flashbacks, at least yet, to Scotland when Connor was really young, when not young, but when he was training. We might, but it makes me want to see this writer continue the series to where we will get the story where it's him and Heather, or him training with, I forgot his mentor's name, and they said it in the book too.
Yeah.
Sean Connery. Sean Connery. It was Sean Connery.
Ramirez.
Thank you.
Yes. No, I agree with you, and I think we might see that. The reason for this particular flashback was because it was their first meeting. Oh yeah. So I had to go there. But yeah, I think we'll see that. I'm hoping we'll see that at least too. But even if we don't, I think it's pretty cool, because this, just from reading this, it makes me want to check out this writer's other work. Because he's a solid writer, and I want to support that. So.
Oh, I support this book 100%. Yeah. And if the writer and/or artist hears this podcast, you guys did an amazing, super amazing job for this first issue. You blew this first issue out of the water for both me and Brent, that's for sure. And we were nervous. We were nervous on you guys, and you guys, thank you for making sure that you kept, you delivered with this book, because the movie sure as hell didn't deliver, but you guys delivered a good comic.
And you validated our podcast, so thank you.
Oh, yes. Because if you didn't, then we'd hate your guts, and, we'd have to stick with the Adrian Paul TV series.
Yeah. Well, we would have done that anyway, but we're still going to.
Yeah, I know, but I'm shh.
I wouldn't have hated their guts, man. Come on, you're a little strong, but I would have been very disappointed.
I wouldn't hate their guts. I would have been, I was making a joke.
I know that. I'm just telling the people that maybe there's new listeners that don't know you as well as I do. That's all.
I hate all of you. Feel the hate.
But we love this book, and that's all that matters. So top marks from us for Highlander, The American Dream, issue number 1. We will definitely be reviewing the rest of this miniseries on a monthly basis as it comes out. So when that new issue drops, you can know that you'll be looking forward to a brand new episode of this show.
Please, IDW, make this an ongoing. Keep the team, please.
Yes.
You did Ghostbusters. You did Turtles. Hell, you gave us Turtles TMNT Universe as well. What's one more? Get rid of Back to the Future. You're not really. You don't really want Back to the Future.
Hey, they don't have to get rid of anything. Just do this. Just do this too.
You don't need like 4 Donald Duck books. Get rid of the Duck Avenger.
I think they're doing okay where they can afford to add one more book to their slate. You know.
Okay, I mean, I was just trying to help out.
I know. I'm just saying.
I could name a few books they don't need that they could do without, so they could have a Highlander ongoing. I mean, I'm trying to think of something. I mean,
you're awful.
I am
disparaging all these other books that could be very good. Absolutely.
Bring us Duncan. Bring us Mythos. Bring us Raven. Bring us everybody from this series. I don't care. Do a comic. Oh God, what do they call those, Brant? Where you take a movie and you translate it into it. Give us a comic adaptation to the first movie, not the second. That's
fine. Or tell a bunch of in between stories like this one is. I'd love to see more Duncan's story. Heck, I wouldn't mind a Richie miniseries. You know, just whatever. Just bring me Highlander. We love it.
Yes, we are part of that cult following.
Yes.
That really never want to talk about the last 2 movies because, God, when you thought Highlander 2 was bad.
I think most of the time they talk about the first movie and the TV series. And everything else is just
there.
You
know, that is interesting. It's like, yeah, there was the movie and the TV series. But what
about the second stuff?
Yeah, it was other stuff. Well, what about the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, and 5th movie? We don't talk about that. We know it's there.
Well, Wrestler Edge was in Endgame. I know that.
Yes, he was.
Mario Van Peebles was in Final Dimension, which is what it was called in the theater. I don't know where the sorcerer came from, unless that was the UK name, maybe.
Maybe.
Because sometimes they name their stuff differently.
Well, Christopher Lambert, after looking him up, we found out he's a French actor, so he's in a lot of French movies.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like Harry Potter, the first Harry Potter movie in the UK was called the Philosopher's Stone. Well, here it's called the Sorcerer's Stone. You never know. But either way, top marks for Highlander, the American Dream, #1.
Yes. Amazing freaking book. Thank you to a good team. Now keep it going throughout the entire mini, and then force IDW to make you keep doing it as an ongoing.
There you go.
Tell them to threaten not to buy anything from them anymore.
I'll send this directly to you. Yeah, don't do that. Yeah,
that's a lie, because I'll be buying TMNT. I can't drop that book. No way. I mean, I could drop everything else just to make a point, but no, I can't drop my TMNT.
Or your Highlander.
No, I'm saying I'd drop everything if they wouldn't continue Highlander.
Yeah. I know, I got you.
But
except TMNT. Yeah,
I can't drop that. No, I can't do that. You can't make me.
I can't throw out G.I. Joe or Real American Hero either, so we're stuck with them.
We're stuck in the 80s, dude. Turtles,
I know.
G.I. Joe, Highlander,
that's true.
Back to the Future.
Hey,
that's an 80s show. We should just call it that 80s show.
No. I think we'd get sued. There was a short-lived sitcom. There was.
No.
There was. After that 70s show ended, there was a short-lived sitcom called That 80s Show, and it did not do well.
Oh, that late 80s show?
How about we just stick with There Can Be Only One?
Because
it's about Highlander.
Yeah. We'll do it afterwards.
If this is popular enough and people like this, maybe there will be a spin-off for some of these other properties. See, this is how we work this now. Come on.
No, I agree with you. I would not change. I love this podcast name. It is. I'm saying, but I like the idea of those 80s that 80s show or something spin-off. That 80s podcast spin-off.
We'll just be talking about a bunch of IDW comics then.
Basically.
Transformers, G.I. Joe. We'll have to bring your brother on and talk about My Little Pony.
Look, I mean, viewers, this is where your input is needed. In the comments below, feel free to comment if you'd like to see that 80s podcast. Wait,
Something. We'll come up with a name later, but something about the
Yes.
80s properties. We'll put it like that.
That 80s podcast. Or tentative, that 80s podcast.
We'll have some like old Miami Vice music or something.
No, I mean, if you'd like to hear it, if you'd like to get stuck in the 80s, just like Brant and I apparently are, in the late 80s or mid 80s, comment below. If you are listening to this on, Stitcher or iTunes or whatever, zone4podcast at gmail.com and let us know that you want a that 80s podcast show. And we'll talk about everything in the 80s. If you want the 90s, that'll cost you extra.
Be on the lookout for a Zone 4 Patreon in the future, coming to a computer screen near you.
Exactly, and then you can show us how much you want of that's 80s podcast. And if you want the 90s, make sure to comment. We also want the 90s. There's actually a subscription box for the 80s and 90s. Did you know that?
Oh, I did not.
Yes, there is. That's why I was thinking, hey, 80s. But I'll have to really dig with the 80s. 90s, I kind of remember a little bit more.
I bet they send you a lot of headbands.
Probably.
Oh man! All right, so
back to the Highlander.
Way off track. Back to the Highlands of Zone 4. So, is there anything else you want to add to the Highlander before we wrap this one up?
I actually, in between the last episode and this one, or this week's worth of episodes, I went on Amazon, and we all know that Highlander's on Hulu. I don't think it's on Netflix. It might be on Netflix. No, it isn't. Okay. They're all on Hulu. The movies are on, I believe, Hulu as well, or they're all over the place regardless.
I don't think the movies are on Hulu.
Okay, but the movies are easy to find anywhere.
Yeah. I think you can watch them through Amazon if you have a Showtime account or something like that.
Exactly, and I do. Right. So, I went browsing around because my mom and I are humongous Highlander TV series fans. Mm-hmm. And I found on Amazon the full run of the Highlander. And I'm actually debating about buying the DVD set of season 1 through 6. And then I looked up the movies, and this is how we were told by our friend Firestorm about the movie we missed in between. But I also have those, and I found the anime movie, which is pretty cheap. The 4 movies together are, I think, $10. Apparently, they want to forget about Highlander 2, so that's separate. And then the anime one is separate, and I think that was also both of those being $10 each. So I might be looking into getting the movies and TV series just to have it. And you know what? When we talk about an episode, I can just find the DVD it's on, pop it into the DVD player and watch it that way. Not saying I don't support Hulu or I don't watch on Hulu. I've always wanted the set anyway, and I think this show kind of gave me that last excuse I needed to just make the purchase.
Gotcha. Nothing wrong with that.
Oh. It's a lot of money, but nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm poor,
which is why I'm watching on Hulu. I would love to have it too. Don't get me wrong, but yeah.
We all have our our ways of watching. See, but Brent, you're okay with digital a lot more than I am. I like to have more physical stuff.
Well,
and then now I'm starting to lean more towards you though, because money.
Yeah.
Money I do like as well.
Well, to be fair, I mean, I've got Hulu on like 3 different platforms, so I can just sit anywhere in the house and watch Hulu.
Right. For me, it's just on my computer. After that, that's really it. That's like me and Netflix. Me and Netflix, I get along a little bit better because I have it on here, my computer. When I say here, I have it on my tablet. I have it on. I think I could have it on my phone, but I don't. I have it on my PlayStation 4. So it's more readily available for me.
You know they have Hulu on the PS4 too.
Oh, I know. I just didn't want to download it. I actually think, honestly, I did uninstall Netflix also just because the PS4 just doesn't have the space.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I could have it on the PS4.
But whatever way you decide to watch it, go watch it because Highlander is awesome. Exactly. And if you're listening to this, you probably agree with us anyway. So there you go.
Right, because if you're listening to this and have no idea what Highlander is, well, you might be because you're curious. But if you're listening to this and don't like the Highlander, what are you doing? What are you doing with your life? What is this? What is this? Are you is this like a dare? Did somebody dare you to listen to us talk about the Highlander for checking time on podcast for around a half hour? Was this a dare? How dare you be dared to listen to our show?
Yeah, we dare you to listen to every single one.
Yeah, that's right.
We doubled it. We triple dog dare you.
There you go. Now you're in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
You've been triple dog there. Now you gotta come back.
80s references. Boom.
Oh, jeez. It's coming. I feel it in my bones. I feel it. That 80s podcast is just slowly creeping its way into our lives. Just taking away even more of our... We don't have personal lives. What's a personal life? We sit on the computer all day and talk. That's our personal life. And then when we're done with that 80, no, you do. Don't lie. Don't lie. I know what you're doing because I'm there next to you when you're doing it.
Oh, that's something creepy.
It did. That's why I stopped talking for a moment.
Oh man.
That 90s show.
Oh, I don't even know where to go from here.
I love the Highlander.
So I can tell you that the Highlander American Dream #2 actually hits stores March 8th. Wow, so that's really soon.
That's next.
That's next week. What the heck? Okay, so
this one came out late. That might be why.
Maybe. So we're not going to review it like right away. We'll probably wait a couple weeks after that issue's out and then review that one because issue 3 doesn't come out until the end of April.
Wow, that's about like what?
Like 7 weeks. 7, 8 weeks, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say we'll wait. Maybe we'll put it like in between. In between the weeks between. So like if it's 7 weeks, maybe 3 weeks or 2 weeks.
Yeah, so let's just say like towards the end of March will be the next episode of this show, and we'll talk about the book that comes out next week. So sorry about that we're not going to be able to talk about it right away, but otherwise we're going to be waiting almost 2 months in between episodes, and we didn't want to do that. So
yeah, especially because if and when the book ends completely, like if there's no more books after that, then we're going to be doing a lot of TV talk, so we don't want to do that in between right now. Exactly.
So there you go. Look forward to the next episode of this sometime towards the end of March.
Right. Sounds good.
All right.
I'm really glad we decided to do this show. I'm having a lot of fun with it, and I heard the intro. Being a co-member of this podcast, didn't even hear the intro until the podcast episode 0 went up.
That's true. It's because it was being done like the morning it went up.
This is true.
So you approve, though?
Oh, hell yeah.
Nice. I'm patting myself on the back if you can't see. No, I'm joking.
Nobody can see. We're not recording with camera.
That's true. It's audio only. So anyway, that's pretty much going to wrap up this episode of There Can Be Only One. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you did, again, you can go back and listen to episode 0 one more time. Episode 2 will be towards the end of March. And you can just look forward to us around the monthly schedule from here on out.
Yep. And continuing for as long as we have content to talk about when it pertains to the Highlander.
Absolutely. And hopefully IDW... Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say hopefully IDW will keep supplying us with new content to talk about.
Or the movies.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just saying I really want a new ongoing series. That's all.
Or we could just turn the show into that 80s podcast like we were talking about and talk about everything from the 80s.
So... whatever you'd like to hear from us, you can email us at zone4podcast@gmail.com and let us know your thoughts. And in the comments below, you can let us know what you thought of this issue if you got a chance to read it. And if you think it was faithful to the franchise and if you're looking forward to more.
Read it.
Yes.
You'll love it.
And, of course, we'll be talking about this one on Frontline Live, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I haven't read all my books yet. I don't know if it'll be top 5 material, but I'm sure.
Well, you gave it a 4.5. It better be up there.
I mean, I haven't read DC and Marvel yet, though. There might be several 4 and 5 books.
I've only read like 2.5, 3.5 books myself, so we'll see. But
one.
there's there's a good chance it'll be talked about on Frontline Live, so you can tune into that. So, and as far as Zone 4, you can look forward to more podcasts from Chris and I and from the entire Zone 4 cast. So we just did like an episode of Zone 4 last week, and you've got new hit points coming up next week. Mm-hmm. And so much stuff to look forward to from Zone 4. So stay tuned to zone4podcast.com and comment Frontline on YouTube, because that's where we post all our shows as well.
Yep, exactly.
All
We
right.
got a lot of content coming your guys' way, coming to an ear near you very soon.
So thanks for joining us on another exciting episode of There Can Be Only One. We'll see you next time in the Highlands of Zone 4.
Those are the hills that we have in the office that we have to walk over every time we have to record.
Every time he walks over my closing. Every time. I swear you do it just to mess with me.
Hey, you mess with me on things, I mess with you on things. It's a fair trade.
Okay. We're done.
We've got to be the rulers of your
This has been a Gonzo Goose production.